BitSwap is the hottest new way to trade tokens. Crawling all the top decentralized exchanges, BitSwap will get you the very best price and value for your trades. BitSwap is changing the game. Try it now at bitswapdex.com.
Welcome to Rice TVX. On today's Rice Report, I am joined by Gerald Celente, who is the publisher of Trends Journal. And I had the opportunity to meet him in person and do this interview at Market Disruptors Live, which is a conference that was put on by Mark Moss in Miami, Florida last week. I attended 2 different conferences. I was there for 5 days. I have been speaking with so many people and in the process have lost my voice. So that's why my voice sounds like it does. But I encourage you to stick around all the way to the end of the interview because I will be sharing some footage of Gerald Celente at the conference. Before we get into it, make sure you visit ricetvx.com and sign up for my mailing list so you never miss an update or new Rice TVX content. Plus, you can find my social media links, contact information, get Rice TVX merch coming soon via the shop, and more. If this is your first time ever watching any of my videos, check out and explore my channels. Make sure you subscribe to Rice TVX and Rice TVX2. Both can be found on YouTube. And hit the notification bell to get alerted to new videos. Also, you can follow me on Odyssey and Library, where I have my full catalog of videos plus extra content. And you can also find Rice TVX on BitChute. If you want to support Rice TVX and what I do directly, I have my PayPal, Cash App, plus my cryptocurrency addresses via my Cointree link below in the video description. You can also join my Patreon channel where you will get early access to some of my videos, exclusive content, and more, with 4 different levels of membership, all offering something different. If you are looking to purchase and invest in precious metals, gold and silver are both good safe haven assets to hedge against the financial collapse we are experiencing. Check out Money Metals Exchange. I partnered up with them and you can get a free ½ ounce of silver. Visit moneymetals.com, be a first-time buyer, purchase a minimum of $100, and use the promo code RICE. You get a free ½ ounce of silver, and it's another way to support the channel. I will include links down below for everything I just mentioned, as well as everything I talk about on today's show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today I have the honor and privilege of being joined by Gerald Celente, the founder of Trends Journal, who needs no introduction. I've had lots of guests like Lynette Zhang on, and Lynette Zhang looks up to this man. This is somebody who I've learned a lot from. Gerald, I really appreciate you accepting my invitation to come on today.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you,
for
Kyle
everything,
Kemper.
for all the work that you do, brother.
I love you.
You are a true, beautiful human.
I love you, brother.
You as well, Gerald. Take care, guys.
That was Kyle Kemper. He's a good guy. And Gerald, man, thank you for doing this interview. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. I mean, with a bunch of wonderful people and a beautiful day, and you know, it's a whole different trip being with a lot of like-minded, open-minded people.
Yes. I was going to say, what were your overall thoughts because we're here in Miami, Florida for Mark Moss's Market Disruptors Live event. What was your overall thoughts so far? We're at the last day. You've been enjoying yourself?
Oh, it's been great. Yeah, but you know, I came from New York is uptight. Everybody's uptight. So I thought things would be a little looser here. They're looser. But when you go into the restaurant, you know, everybody's wearing, all the helpers wearing a mask. You know, so it's, you know, it's not normal. And but it's a much better environment by a long shot than New York.
Oh, I agree, 100%. I actually canceled an appearance at a conference because of all the requirements.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So, what I did want to ask is, we're going to keep this short and sweet. I'm being respectful of Gerald's time, but I wanted to ask about the newest episode, the newest issue of Trends Journal. It says, think for yourself. It's not illegal yet.
Yeah.
Can you expound? I mean, you've seen a lot going on in life. You've seen a lot of transformational changes from what America used to be to what America is today. What, like, for anybody who's younger, what would be the best advice that you could give to somebody right now for the time period that we're living in, whether it's investments or gold and silver, whether it's barter abilities, community building? What are the things that you feel like are the most important things that uneducated people who aren't necessarily paying attention to what's going on with economic situation and with political climate?
You don't deal with them. You deal with the people that dogs don't make cats. You're not going to change their mind.
Right.
So for the people that want to move forward, that want to keep growing and learning, is to get in the best shape you can, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And today, for example, they had Dr. Joseph Mercola.
Yep.
And he's speaking on the health issue. And it's really, and he talked about, building your body and how he does it. So it's mentally, physically, and spiritually. And it's a learning process. I'm not the same guy I was when I was in my 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s.
Right.
You keep learning. So it's a never-ending learning process. And, we have a weekly magazine. I read constantly from all over the world. And
I see your clips, like your newspaper clippings and stuff when you go on videos. So I'm very well. You love to read.
It's not I love to, I have to.
Right, yeah.
And I underline the salient points of the stories. It's not what I want to believe, what I like, what I wish for. It's what is. And I'm a political atheist.
Yeah.
So if you believe in a system, your mind is already closed down.
Very true. Very true. Another interesting thing that I wanted to ask you about, because you did have like a talk yesterday that was really epic, and there was something that I had heard about you doing, the church and the website. Do you mind sharing the website, the church, your position, and what got you into that idea?
I'll tell you what got me into the idea. In 2020, the Supreme Court ruled against little Andy Cuomo, an arrogant little piece of fucking shit. A daddy's boy, born on third base and thought he had a home run. I'm the governor, I'll tell you what to do. I'm going to rename the Tappan Zee Bridge after my daddy, the Mario M. Cuomo Bridge, and it's only going to cost you $20 million because your father's a piece of shit and my father's Mario. Like his little fucking brother Chrissy over there with CNN. They got there because of who they are. It's one big club and you ain't in it, like George Carlin said. Anyway.
God rest his soul.
Yeah, I know his brother Patrick really well.
Okay.
And anyway, the Supreme Court ruled against Cuomo that you cannot limit the size of a church's meeting. So I said to myself, wow, they can't control the church like they can control a business. So I think I'll start a church.
Okay.
So I started the Universal Church of Freedom, Peace, and Justice. Any congregation, if you believe in freedom, peace, and justice, we have to unite under one umbrella. Because united we stand, divided we fall. So everybody's fighting their own little ways. No, you got to unite. So I started that. And again, I said yesterday, I got the domain name, freedompeacejustice.com. freedompeacejustice.com. Could you imagine nobody has that domain name? Could you imagine that nobody had that domain name? It shows you how that's alien to the type of thinking we know. So I'm uniting everybody under one umbrella. And we're offering people who join the church a religious vaccine exemption. Okay. And I can't mention the names, the top constitutional lawyer to draw part of it. Because it's against the Constitution, Article 1, the discrimination against your religious beliefs. So we have that in there, plus all the other things you need about religion. Everybody that's gotten one, that's your employer has to accept it. If they're not one of them has been rejected.
I think I heard you mention it was like pretty much like a
99.999%.
Yeah.
And then the ones that have a problem, we help them any way we can.
Right.
And so it's been working. But the thing is, now we're going to put together a real movement. We're going to do the gospel singers. Music is the great communicator. And so we're going to be putting bands together, music together. And I have these beautiful buildings, and stages. I have a set that you can't beat. And so that's what we're going to do with the church.
Okay.
So
That's
You're gonna
awesome.
find people.
Now, if somebody wanted to take your idea or maybe form their own congregation in another area, could they get in
And
touch?
again, if you form your own congregation and we're separated, we need to unite. I mentioned about the Berlin
I'm saying
Wall.
people in other states.
Yeah, no, it's one. It's one. We have to unite. And I mentioned, and Mark, George Gannon mentioned it when I told him about, I saw him in Phoenix, about how the Berlin Wall came down. When people went to the Berlin Wall, they didn't leave. More came and they didn't leave. More came and they didn't leave. More came and they didn't leave. We have to do it. We have to do it. We can't stop doing it. So yes, all over the country and all over the world, we have an international, by the way, employer vaccine, religious vaccine mandate.
Okay.
Exemption for international as well. But yes, a congregation forming, but only in the sense of, all right, this is what we're going to do today, tomorrow, the next day, 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 until we win.
Yeah.
We have to unite.
Well, I know you're not very familiar with my channel, but one of the things that I have been saying for quite some time now, especially throughout 2020 and now, and I'm trying to manifest the idea, because we can speak things into existence, and it is that when enough people take a stand, nothing can stand against the people, and we can peacefully change the world, but we got to unite, like you
We
just
have
said.
to unite.
We're so divided.
Again, united we stand, divided we fall. I didn't make that one up.
And it was almost like propaganda that they told us how the system works.
Yep.
And we've allowed them to separate us and divide us.
Again, as I mentioned yesterday, don't call it a government, it's a crime syndicate. Get it in your head. Don't call them big pharma, they're drug dealers.
Right. No, you're right. You're 100% right. I wanted to ask you at least one financial question, and that would be for anybody who is worried about inflation, deflation, stagflation, all the different inflations that are happening. What would you advise, what would be your advice to people to diversify and be able to maintain their purchasing power with what they have currently?
I don't give financial advice.
Okay.
Speaking for myself. GSB, gold, silver, Bitcoin, are my three investments, and real estate.
Okay.
And for young people, get into real estate. You know, I mean, I'm talking, you know, if you're in your 20s, 30s, get into real estate. And find the hot areas that are going to keep. Where I am up in Kingston, New York, everybody was flooding out of New York City buying stuff unseen.
Right.
And it's just going to keep going. Is it going to go down? I call it dragflation. The economy is going to go down, inflation is going to go up. It's not stagflation. They're locking down Austria just yesterday. No vaccine, no freedom.
No, I know.
So now you take one country after another that's doing that. I'm supposed to do a gig in Vancouver. I can't go because I don't have a vaccine passport. So 56% of Americans have been fully vaccinated. So now you lost 40% of your market. How's that going to hit? There used to be a thing called trade shows and conventions, right?
Yeah, like we're at a convention.
Yeah, gone.
Right. Except for Florida and Arizona and Texas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So business is going to go way down.
Yeah.
And inflation is going to go up. So I call it dragflation, not stagflation. It's not going to be stagnant. It's going to go down.
It's going to drag down.
Yeah. And so those are my beliefs. And the other side of it, when interest rates go up, and they're going to go up, you're going to see Bitcoin, gold, and silver take a hit.
Take a hit as in going down.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's going to be temporary. Because when interest rates go up, the economy is going to go way down because they pumped in all this cheap money to artificially blow it up.
Yeah.
But even, as I mentioned yesterday, we have very negative interest rates when you look at inflation. So the interest rates is 0, but your inflation, according to the government, is 6%. So you're getting negative interest rates.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying real estate.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, and I appreciate that. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up the interview. I'm just going to give you a chance if you have any final thoughts or anything that you'd like to add, anything that you want to say to anybody before we do wrap up today's video. And again, I do appreciate your time, and I admire and I respect you, and I thank you for taking a stand for freedom, Gerald.
Yeah, that's, again, I'm a lucky guy. I'm born in the Bronx, 1946, right after the war. And the energy was so high. And, I grew up at a time of sex, drugs, and rock and roll, I mean, you were free to be who you wanted to be. And to me, to see what's going on now breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that people can't be themselves. And we're in the fight for our lives. And it's up to the younger, it's up to everybody. People say, oh, the young people, that's bullshit. You look at who started the revolution in America? It was the elders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was your kind of your politicians, your George Washington, your Thomas
Benjamin
Jefferson,
Franklin,
your James
they
Madison.
weren't kids.
Yeah, no.
And it's up to us really to push this forward. And again, as I mentioned, it does not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority, keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men, since Samuel Adams. And we here are that irate, tireless minority. And when the revolution happened in America, less than 5% of the people were for it. When it began, at the height of it, under 50%.
Wow.
Yeah. So we could win.
So ladies and gentlemen, if you're unfamiliar with Gerald Celente, which you should not be if you're watching my channel, I'm going to have links down below for his website and also for his YouTube channel. So make sure you check that out because he's putting out some great information. Check out Trends Journal. Again, I really appreciate your time, Gerald. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to be the change by practicing change.
Yep.
In the foothills of the Catskills. It's a third Dutch settlement, more pre-Revolutionary War buildings than anywhere else. And the seeds of democracy was sown there. When Kingston was the capital of New York State, over 70% of America's Constitution comes from there. And that's why I brought the 3 historic houses on the most historic Four Corner, pre-Revolutionary War stone buildings, because I realized I can't run away. This is my country, love to leave it, no, you leave it. But right up where I am, we used to have a thing called the Borscht Belt. Back in the day when all the entertainers, they go to the Catskills. Now they're empty. Let's build homeless communities. Give these people a life. Put them in a pleasant surrounding. Give them things to do. Rather than wasting billions and billions and billions of dollars and sticking them in a room or letting them sleep out in the streets and cities. This is insanity. And you know why it's insanity? Because we got a bunch of sick bitches and bastards called politicians that are telling us what to do. Survivalism. This thing's going down big and high. How about homicides in a city near you? Look at the people all over the street. Anthony was mentioning New York. New York, I can't stand the place anymore. You go down into the city, hey man, hey, you all right? Yeah, it's a freak show. Again, when people lose everything, they have nothing left to lose, they lose. So we have in the Trends Journal, we have survivalism every week. And Bradford Steiner, may rest in peace, he just passed on. He's the top close combat guy in the country. My teacher, John Perkins, I had my own school. I used to teach close combat for many years. This was his teacher. So we're teaching people how to prepare. Not only survivalism for that, you're prepared for the worst. If the worst doesn't happen, and you're prepared, you don't lose anything. If the worst happens and you're not prepared, you lose everything. And what I'm saying, and again, a lot of it is think to yourself, you better prepare yourself. You better prepare yourself. This thing's going to go down big and hard, and prepare, prevail, and prosper. Again, they close the, look at what's going on in San Francisco. Walgreens, Target, closing down stores. You see people walking in, stealing shit and going out. This is real. Who the hell would have believed this?